What's up, you guys? This is Ron with your second stimulus check update and second stimulus package update for Monday, October the 19th. I hope you guys are doing very well today. I've got several big updates that I want to share with you guys today, including the recent news that came out from President Trump. It looks like President Trump is preparing to set up for the executive order, the executive action that we've kind of heard about. A lot of people were asking, well, why doesn't President Trump just issue an executive order or an executive action to get stimulus checks out to the American people? And it looks like this could actually be happening, and based on his words, maybe as early as this week, but I'm definitely going to share those details with you guys. But before we get into it, I'd like to say welcome back to all my subscribers. And for those of you who are brand new to the channel, my name is Ron. We cover all things personal finance, investing, how to generate more money, and of course, stimulus checks and stimulus check updates. So if you haven't already, definitely go ahead and hit the like button on this video. That definitely helps me out. And subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you know as soon as I release new updates. And of course, don't forget to check out the Financial Freedom Program, link in the description and in the comments down below. Now, President Trump has been under a lot of pressure to make the next stimulus package a reality and to get stimulus checks and unemployment insurance checks out to the American people. And the American people are not the only ones who are putting pressure on President Trump. Businesses and the economy are also putting an extreme amount of pressure on President Trump. In fact, it's not only businesses, the economy, and the American people. The pressure from businesses, the economy, and the American people are not the only things that are lighting a fire under President Trump in order for him to make something happen in terms of stimulus checks and stimulus packages for the American people. If we look at the presidential polls here, we can see that candidate Joe Biden is sitting at 52%, and we've got Republican President Trump sitting at 42%. Now, if President Trump doesn't make something substantial happen for the American people, it doesn't look like he's going to have another term. Now, of course, I read the comments. I know a lot of you guys say, hey, you can't trust the polls, or, this poll is more accurate. This poll over here is less accurate. I'd love to know from your guys' perspective, what poll do you guys recommend? If you could drop me a comment down below, if you've got a better site that you believe is more accurate, I would love to hear from you so I can potentially use it in a future video. So President Trump was interviewed yesterday, and it appears as though he will actually be stepping in if the Republicans oppose his multi-trillion-dollar stimulus package efforts. As I shared in yesterday's video with you guys, Mitch MCConnell is actually scheduled to vote on two different smaller stimulus packages, also known as skinny bills. During an interview yesterday, President Trump was hit with some very pointed questions about the next stimulus package and stimulus checks for the American people. I want to quickly share that interview with you guys right now.
Let me ask you about the economic hardship that has hit so many businesses and the states. The states say they need more money. Taxpayers, Americans say they want more money to help pay the bills. You have put a $1.8 trillion on the table. Will there be more money by Election Day? Do you have a deal?
Well, I want the money by tonight, but Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to approve it because she thinks it's good politically for her not to approve it. And if you look at our numbers nationwide, they've been incredible. We're on a very strong V. The job numbers were up to 11.4 million. It's a record over the last number of months. We're doing, from an economic standpoint, and next year we're going to announce third quarter numbers. I think they're going to be phenomenal, by the way. I think you're going to have perhaps over 25% GDP. Our unemployment numbers, and if you look at the number of people being hired, but Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to approve anything because she wants to bail out poorly run Democrat states. And we don't want to do that.
Republicans are holding back.
I will say this. I don't think she wants to approve it anyway. I think even if we gave her the money for the poorly run Democrat states, I don't think she'd approve it anyway.
But aren't you getting pushback from Senate Republican leaders?
I will take care of that problem in 2 minutes.
So do you think we can have a deal before Election Day?
Look, if I had something that would be good, I think I could quickly convince the Republicans to do it. They're ready to do it. But Nancy Pelosi does not want to do it.
All right, let me ask you.
I wish your governor would call up Nancy Pelosi and say, do it. She wants to hold it till after the election. And I think it's bad for the Democrats.
And
but
Governor
I'm ready. If they sent a bill over, I am ready, willing, and able. And I wanted a higher number than she wanted.
What's your number?
I'd go higher than her number, and who knows what her number is. But if you said $1.8 trillion, if you said $2 trillion, if you said $2 trillion, many numbers, I'm willing to go higher than that because it wasn't the people's fault. This whole thing that we talk about was China's fault. They caused this problem and they're going to pay for this problem.
So you've heard from President Trump. So in spite of the fact that we've seen quite a bit of resistance from the Senate Republicans in terms of willingness to meet Nancy Pelosi's roughly $2.2 trillion stimulus package demands, President Trump is convinced that he can turn the Senate around in 2 minutes, as he said. And I like how the interviewer actually pressured President Trump. He actually wanted to know exactly, how high, give me a number, how high would you be willing to go in terms of the next stimulus package? And President Trump said vaguely previously that he'd be willing to, go higher than what the Democrats wanted. But, we didn't actually hear him drop an exact number. He actually said, I'd be willing to do 1.8. I'd be willing to do $2.2 trillion or even higher than that number. So we actually got recent confirmation as of yesterday from President Trump on that. Now, the other question is, from President Trump's standpoint, when he says, I will take care of the problem in 2 minutes, does that mean that he will actually convince the Senate Republicans to actually vote for something that they've clearly been against for so long? Or does this mean that President Trump will pull out the card that he's been holding all along and issue an executive order to allow stimulus checks to go out to the American people and entirely bypass Congress altogether? I'd love to see what's going to happen with this one. If President Trump cannot get the Senate Republicans on board with him, the executive action may be President Trump's only play. And to be quite honest with you guys, even if stimulus checks were issued tomorrow, I don't even think it's enough. I think that at this point, we should have multiple stimulus checks out. I feel like by the time they actually pass stimulus checks, they should send out 2, if not 3 or 4 stimulus checks by the time they actually come to an agreement. The American people have been waiting for months, and it's not like bills stop just because Congress is negotiating. Bills continue to come in and people are constantly being evicted every single day. This has been a very unusual debate. You've got a Republican president, you've got a Democratic House primarily, and then you've got a Republican Senate. Now, what's really interesting is that although there is that synchronicity between, the president being Republican and the Senate being primarily Republicans as well, President Trump's having a lot of trouble, at least based on what we're seeing, in terms of getting things passed through the Senate. He wants to go significantly higher than the Senate Republicans are willing to do. And it's not what you would typically expect. In fact, there was actually a statement that was made by Senator Ben Sasse of Nebraska. He says that I'm worried that if President Trump loses, as looks likely, that he's going to take the Senate down with him. He said that I'm now looking at the possibility of a Republican bloodbath in the Senate. I mean, those are some very harsh words. That is a clear lack of confidence coming out of the Senate in terms of the expectations that President Trump will actually win this election. And then we've also got another statement that came from Olivia Troy, a former Homeland Security advisor to Vice President Mike Pence, who served on the White House during the virus task also. She said that I hope that they're having a moment of moral clarity. I think we're realizing that the Trump show is almost over. So, at this point, it definitely looks like if President Trump cannot convince the Senate to go north in terms of their offer, it's not looking all that good for President Trump in terms of the elections. And based on the statement that Senator Sasse made about President Trump, if he doesn't win the election, he's going to take the Senate down with him in a bloodbath. It kind of goes in line with the statement here where it says that the Republican senators are increasingly voicing fears that President Donald Trump could lose the election, and some are openly fretting that he'll turn the party's candidates into electoral roadkill and are distancing themselves from him to an unusual extent. So based on that statement, the question becomes, okay, are the Senate Republicans really being incredibly fiscally conservative, in terms of not wanting to spend that much money on the next stimulus package compared to the Democrats? Or is this another strategic play by the Senate Republicans to not support a stimulus package anywhere near the size that President Trump wants to push through? But whatever the case is, time is definitely running out from both sides' perspective. So we're gonna have to wait and see how this plays out. But that's all for this stimulus check update and stimulus package update. I hope that you guys got some value out of this video. If you did, go ahead and hit the like button if you haven't already. And of course, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.